Anchovies, garlic, olive oil. Smother me in it. Not now, it was very hot. It would burn my skin. Hello, we are back for episode 4 of Fusion. I get really excited to film this. I hope you get excited to watch it. I get very excited to come into your kitchen or your living room with your permission. Would be weird otherwise. Today, we are going back to Italy actually. It's difficult to not go back to Italy because they make such fucking great food. We're gonna go to Italy, but we're also gonna go to the Middle East. We're making a biber and Sumac Caponata. Biber or Aleppo chili flakes, you may know them. Nice bit of spice, but not too hot. Sumac, this beautiful, beautiful spice that is the most amazing colour. It's zesty, it goes lovely in salads, but you can also wrap it around meat. So why not pack it into the base of a lovely sauce? Caponata comes from Sicily. It's a tomato-based sauce with aubergines, olives, capers. So this really is a versatile dish. You could serve this with pasta in the evening and then pack it up with your lunch to have with bread the next day. 2 birds, 1 caponata. Let's get cracking. The first step in this is to roast off your aubergine. I want the aubergine to be in a lovely cubed structure, quite small. Nice cubes, maybe 1.5, 2 centimetre cubes, something like that. When you cut things and you're trying to make them into cubes, try and keep them structured. Try and do it in 2 bits, halve the aubergine, keep everything on top of each other. That's the best way to get a uniform dice. We're gonna add them to a tray. Try and get a big tray because I don't want them to be piling on top of each other. I want them to caramelize a little bit and you need space for that. Season them well with salt. I'm using fine sea salt here because I want it to wrap itself around it. Big flakes of salt aren't gonna do the job I want. I really want them to go all over this aubergine. Give it a mix. And then drizzle over some olive oil, but be generous. This is Italy. We like olive oil. Well, this isn't Italy, this is Bristol. Amazing. That is gonna go into quite a hot oven. I'm gonna go at 220 for 30 minutes until we get really lovely shiny skin and brown flesh. While the aubergine's in the oven, we're gonna get everything else prepped. There's not a huge amount to do here, but there are a couple of things. We want some nice sliced garlic. That's gonna go right into the base. We're gonna almost infuse the initial olive oil with some of this garlic, along with the anchovies. But I'll show you that later. And I quite like a slice when I do that. Nice thin slice. And it's quite a tomato heavy dish. We will be using tinned chopped tomatoes, but I also like to put some fresh baby plum tomatoes in as well. They add a nice sweetness and I want to quarter them. Now be careful if you're going to cut them like this because I don't want you cutting your fingers. That's an easy way to halve them and then you can go through and quarter them all separately. Make a bit of room. Pop those tomatoes back into here. And the final thing I want to prep is the olives. These guys are pretty big. So a standard olive I'd probably just half. These are pretty big, so I'm going to quarter them. It's quite a rustic dish, so they don't all need to be the same size. You can put some in whole if you want, whatever you like. These are actually flavoured olives. These are chili ones, but plain ones are absolutely fine. But I just thought the chili ones would be quite nice because it will complement the biber as well. This is, in essence, a very, very Italian dish. We're just adding in zest and tiny bit of spice from the Middle East, which I think is a nice way to do it. Fusion doesn't always need to be half-half. And you need to remember that things like aubergine are just so common in both cultures, so it's quite nice to combine it into one dish. Maybe this series is just a really big lesson on how we can all work together as a team. I think we're ready to start cooking. Right, before we start cooking, I want to do a little lesson on stainless steel pans. They're my favourite pans to use, and yes, they can stick, but only if you use them the incorrect way. If you use them this way, I guarantee you'll love them as much as I do. The first thing to do, whatever you cook, is to get them ripping hot. And I know it can be quite difficult to know exactly how hot is hot enough. After a bit of time, popping your hand over, you'll be able to tell what is hot enough. But there's a little trick. You just need to get a little bit of water in your fingers and throw it into the pan. If you hear it make a ting ting noise and the water beads off just like that, you know it's ready. If you throw the water in and it goes tss and starts steaming away, it's not quite hot enough. So you're looking for this, beading all over. If you were cooking a steak or some meat that you wanted to sear, you can get going straight away. But if you're trying to build a sauce like we are here and you don't want to burn the garlic or you don't want to overdo it too quickly, let that pan come right down to the heat you want it. The important part is it has got to where it needs to be. Now it's not going to stick. Now that that's cooled down a bit, we can start cooking. We're going to go in with a decent amount of olive oil. We're going to build the base with anchovies. They're lovely, they're salty, they add a lovely umami-ness to the base. You can add them straight to the olive oil. They'll break down, disintegrate, mix all into the sauce. Don't be shy unless you don't like anchovies. Along with the anchovies, I'm also going to add in the garlic because that is going to infuse in that oil. It's not too hot at the moment, it's quite low, so the garlic shouldn't burn. That is beautiful. That is just Italy right there. Anchovies, garlic, olive oil. Smother me in it. Not now, it was very hot. It would burn my skin. I'll stink actually, wouldn't I? Just smother my mouth in it. Let's move on. What we're aiming for here is the anchovies to have broken down and the garlics go like a light brown colour. Any further than that and it's probably burnt. We just want fragrance here, we don't want bitterness. That's why it's so important to make sure the pan isn't too hot when the garlic goes in. We've all been there where you add garlic to oil that's too hot and it goes really bitter. That bitterness permeates through a dish like nothing else and it's near on impossible to get out, so be gentle at this stage. I'm cooking with an induction hob at the moment. I'm only at about 5. We don't want it too hot. Give the garlic time to infuse before adding anything else in, before it overcooks. Now that garlic has started to get a little bit of colour, all the anchovies have broken down, we're going to go in with the tomatoes, the fresh ones. I want them to have a bit of time to break down. Really mix them in. You can already see them starting to slightly change colour as they take on all the anchovy flavours and the garlic. Let that bubble away for a bit, let them soften. We want it to be chunky, but we don't want them to have any bite to them. As that tomato starts to cook, I want it to take on all the flavours from the sumac and the biber as well. So go in with that. Add as much biber as you want. Obviously it is chili at the end of the day, so if you can't take that much spice, don't add too much. With the sumac, it can be quite a punchy, zesty flavour. Go gentle with that too. I add in about a teaspoon. Let it coat the tomatoes and then we're going to let that simmer away for probably 5 minutes while it breaks down, releases its liquid, and then we'll go in with everything else. I've not added any salt to this sauce yet. That's a conscious decision. Firstly, because the anchovies themselves bring a ton of salt. And secondly, because those aubergines in there, we salted them pretty well. So we want to be cautious about how much we're adding. We can always add in a little bit later, but I'd be surprised if we'll need it. The aubergine's been in for about half an hour. It's got a little bit of colour on it. The skin is nice and shiny. The flesh is nice and brown. That is exactly what we're looking for. So we can add that straight into our pan. And at this stage, I'm also going to add a tin of chopped tomatoes. Fine chopped tomatoes, preferably. Tomatoes. That has really come together now. You've got body with those tomatoes, you've got spice, you've got flavour, you've got salt. And it's got quite a nice chunky texture. We're still yet to add in our olives and our capers. Let that bubble away for a couple of minutes. Notes. Hits all the notes. As I mentioned before, this is a really versatile dish. We can serve it with pasta, we can serve it with bread. I'm going to show you both ways. So I've got just a pan with water in, heavily salt that pan, okay? We want the pasta to cook in a sea of salt. Put that on our hob. I've got Casarecce here, which is kind of one of my favourite pastas at the moment. It's got these folds in it that allow the sauce to cling to it really well. And that just means every mouthful gets lovely flavour. That's very clever. Just proof how clever the Italians are. They know what they're doing. So that goes into salted water. We want that to be quite al dente because we're going to finish it off in the pan. Always give your pasta a mix just at the start to stop it from sticking to the bottom. While the pasta's cooking, I want to finish off the sauce. It's pretty much there, but it just needs the last couple of elements to it. I've got these olives that we cut earlier and a nice handful of capers. We're going to add even more saltiness. That's why we've not salted this sauce yet. So that can go straight in. Give it a decent mix. Kind of freshens it up slightly too. And we'll just leave that to bubble away for a little bit. While that's all getting ready, I'm going to get on with the other dish, which is just going to be served with some lovely toast. I love dishes like this where you can basically get 2 different meals out of one. I cannot stand the thought of eating the same thing all the time. I never really have to because I'm always creating different dishes, which I'm very lucky about. But when I do have a dish like this, I like to use it in more than one way. So I'm just going to toast these. I'm going to give you an important lesson in pasta making. Never add the sauce to the pasta. We always add the pasta to the sauce. Obviously, we've got a lot here and we're going to use it in 2 ways. And that sauce is done now. That pasta has a tiny bite to it. It's just before al dente, which is where I want it. So I want that off the heat now. I'm going to add a few spoonfuls of the sauce to a pan and then lift the pasta into the pan. It will bring some of that starchy water with it, and that is the secret to creating a silky sauce. Because what happens is that starchy water emulsifies with the sauce that's already in the pasta. Oh, toss it together. You can obviously mix this with a spoon, but I'm trying to impress you all. Look at that. Look how quickly that comes together. I'd like that to be a bit looser, so I'm just gonna add a tiny bit of pasta water and mix it again. You keep adding little bits at a time and mixing until you get to the consistency you want. Beautiful. I've made an absolute mess trying to show off to you guys. White worktops, showing off. They do not go hand in hand. At least I'm not wearing a white shirt. You know how I'm always going on about acidity? You don't always need limes to do that. You don't always need vinegar. Sometimes you can add in things like sumac, which are dry, obviously it's powder. They can still carry citrus flavors, and citrus carries acid, and acid brings life to every dish. I'm starting to sound like a drug addict. The final bit of the puzzle for me is fresh basil. I don't put it in too early because I'm not looking to wilt it down. I just want to tear it and throw in a few pieces. As soon as it touches a heat, in fact, as soon as you tear it, you smell it, and it is gorgeous. I'll put it into the sauce as well that we're gonna have with our toast. Let that mix through. So there you have it. One recipe, 2 different delicious meals, packed full of veggies and on its way to being vegetarian, but not quite because of the fish. We've got lovely toasted sourdough there. Oh, served right next to decent dollop of our caponata. And then in the other plate, that silky pasta sauce, Paul Biber and Sumac Caponata with Casarecce. How stunning is that? Fresh, full of flavour. That's your dinner, that's your lunch tomorrow. What more could you ask for? Let's tuck in, which one should we go for first? Let's go for your dinner first. It's so fresh. The olives. It's funny, because the aubergines, they really cook down and almost melt into the sauce. And then you immediately think of things like baba ganoush, where aubergines are so soft and they are the sauce. And it's just another element of the Middle East coming into what is in the base quite an Italian dish. Fusion, it works if you do it right. Now, the lunch that you'll be taking to work tomorrow. That bread is delicious. I don't make it. That sauce, what a lovely way to eat vegetables. To get probably 1 or 2 of your 5 a day. Another spoonful of that. I don't know which one I prefer more. I really like that you can taste every little bit when you just have the sauce on its own. But when you wrap it around pasta, it really shines. This is a fantastic dish. This is a really delicious recipe. I'm very proud of it, and I think you're gonna love it. It is perfect for your weeknight meals. It's perfect to serve if you've got guests coming round. It's not too much work, and I feel it's quite healthy. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Fusion. We've created a Paul Biber and Sumac Caponata, served with Casarecce or served with toasted sourdough. I'll see you next week for another delicious fusion dish. If you enjoyed this week's episode, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, share it with all your friends, because I want to do this for you as much as I can, and the more you promote me, the more I can do it. See you next week.